Happy holidays, folks. It is not Thursday night. It is not 8 p.m., but this is your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. And it is almost the end of 2025. So the theme tonight is looking back and looking ahead. We're going to talk about 2025. What was like the moments for us that got us thinking, that like made a mark for us on wrestling in 2025. We're going to look ahead to 2026 and what we're looking to see, what we're hoping may happen, what might, get us more interested in things and all that, what lies ahead for pro wrestling in 2026, and also the future of Big Gold Belt. We're going to talk about that tonight too, because 2026 is coming and the times are changing. So get ready, folks. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast starts right now.
Big Gold Belt, 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 Big Gold Belt. All I really want is that Big Gold Belt, 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 Big Gold Belt. All I really need, that Big Gold Belt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final Big Gold Belt podcast of 2025. Season 5, episode 47 is the count we are going with tonight as we close out the year. So for the final time in 2025, and also for the first time in a long time with the 5-box tonight of the entire crew here for the holidays. It's a holiday celebration, if you will, as we close out the year. I am Will in the center of your screen, and we'll go around this clockwise. To the right of me, Damian G down in the Lone Star State. Beneath him is 2 Chains, our editor-in-chief, Nadir Chambers. Across from him in the bottom left, the giant crab, Jamal, with the holiday llama in full effect down there. And last but not least, Silly Cells across from me on the upper left. It's good to have the whole crew here tonight, guys. How is it going?
Happy holidays, happy new year. We are good to go.
Yes, sir. Bah humbug and all that good stuff for everybody.
Oh, already with a bah humbug. Well, wait. Does the holiday llama have a scarf?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Decked out in the finest scarf. MJF would be very jealous.
we should have. You upstaged us, Crab, with the holiday attire.
We can't top that.
So it is what it is. You are representing for all of us tonight as we approach the holidays here, folks. If you're out there listening to this tonight while you're on the road or trying to travel with that stuff, we hope you get where you need to be and all that good stuff. But it is the end of 2025, and definitely I would call it I don't know. To me, it was kind of an odd year in wrestling. There was a lot of just like, I don't know, for me personally, this was a year where a lot of stuff just kind of wasn't clicking for me. And it just kind of, I don't know, there was some bumps in the road. I'm sure we will talk about that, where your stuff was going to go one way and then end up going another way, whether it was injuries derailing things or other circumstances. I think it was an odd year overall in wrestling. And going into 2026, I'm not necessarily sure if that's going to change, but we'll get into all that tonight. But I figured what we would do, I don't like doing like best of. I don't like doing like, oh, what was the best, best match of the year? I don't care. I'm more interested in what people liked and what they were into and what, like, their personal favorite was. It doesn't have to be the best. What were you into? What stood out in 2025? So I'll start this off. And 2025, for me, when I was looking back on it, I was like, what was like the big stuff this year that kind of like really did something for me? And the first thing that came to mind for me was Naomi. Naomi's summer of, I started in the spring, the turn, to proceed with caution, her getting to do stuff with Jade Cargill, to the Money in the Bank, to get in the briefcase, to the win at the Returning Evolution show, which was a huge, big deal this year, the Returning Evolution show, and the way they handled that in the main event with Naomi getting the title. And then it only lasting 36 days with one title defense at SummerSlam before the surprise of, there's a baby on the way. So a heck of a way to have if a swerve was going to come, it was a good reason for a swerve. But for me personally, I would have to say Naomi's little run here I want to see more of it. I want to see it continue. Who knows when it'll be? Let's get a healthy baby here and have all that happen in 2026. But For me, I think Naomi was my highlight of the year. So I'm starting off with Naomi. That's for me. Who wants to get in here next? Talking about 2025.
I'll go.
Let's go next.
I'm about to say, I didn't know if you was muted for a second. I saw you talking to Chains, but I'll go next. Mine was just probably my favorite match of the year because of the nostalgia. And yes, I'm gonna pull
match there, Sellers. We said we don't care about that.
I'm just saying, I like it. I like it. I think the John Cena AJ Styles match was probably the most funnest thing I've seen this year, just because of the just the nostalgia that they did together, as far as, you know, AJ even coming out in his TNA ring, how Cena did his introduction with giving the flowers during his retirement tour to AJ Styles, who I still think is one of the most underrated and probably underappreciated wrestlers that we have in WWE. And just the storyline that they told in the ring, like, we're going to be two vets. We're going to pull moves from everybody else and give kudos and flowers to everybody else that's in WWE, that's not in WWE. And just how just the whole thing finished. Even the Fireflies coming out with the Bray Wyatt tribute that Cena kind of gave to that. And I think during this match, if Bray Wyatt was alive, that's something that, you know, Bray Wyatt versus John Cena would have relived that feud and probably brought back up what they did during COVID time, which was, again, one of the most entertaining matches during that COVID WrestleMania. But it was just great to see just some good classic, probably I would say 90s gimmicked up style wrestling that you haven't seen in a while. And it just was an enjoyable moment for me. And that's something where I don't like to rewatch matches often, but I am going to rewatch that match because of how fun it was for me.
All right. Damien, get in it.
Women's wrestling is in good hands. That is the biggest takeaway from me this past year, is because for a while there, sometimes we used to worry, hey, after the 4 horsewomen leave, what's next, right? And we have seen, going all the way even to AEW with Harley Cameron and finally getting her due, Willow finally getting her due, and now just women's wrestling in general, NXT. I went back and I rewatched Evolution, and I will say that's the best pay-per-view of the year for me, because it was just so enjoyable, especially when it had all the things going against it. Oh, bad marketing. Oh, hey, we're just going to do this during the Beyonce concert. No problem. Yeah, we're just going to kill that entire event. And the women did, from the start of it to the end. Will, you mentioned the Naomi's cash-in. One of the happiest probably days in the Gracia household of just me screaming like about damn Tom. So women's wrestling, for a while, I was worried, but I am very grateful that it's in good hands going forward.
All right, bottom of the screen. Who's going next?
Okay.
What's the question? What's the question? Marcel threw me off.
Yeah, Sellers ruined it.
It can wait. Sellers went with a match. My thinking is, it can be what was your favorite? What was some of your favorite shit in wrestling this year? It can be anything. It can be moments. It can be matches. It can be whatever. I went with Naomi as, like, you know, kind of her overall story.
Right.
I think was my favorite thing. So,
I'll just say that
I'm keeping it broad on purpose so we can cover a lot of ground.
My favorite thing was the execution of the Netflix deal. Moving Raw over to Netflix monumentally shook everything in the landscape of streaming services going forward. Not only that, it's been fun because, and I always gonna nod to Jamal and some of his moments through the time of the show, very early in the show, where we used to talk about when time zone differences, in terms of, like, if a show is, you know, in a particular time zone, why can't we see it at that exact time zone? Why are Americans so, why are we so pampered with everything that it has to always fit in terms of, you know, how we do things? And I think, you know, through that time, we got global expansion, we got pay-per-view starting at their appropriate times, which would, at our rate, inconvenience for us, but it didn't matter because it wasn't about us. It's about the territory that was in. But to kind of bring that back to Raw, that it's cool that if Raw is on 8 p.m. Central, which is the standard, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is the standard time, that if it happens to be in a different time zone, it could come on at 7, 6, 5, and it's just there. And I think like that measure of accessibility, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your computer, whether it's on your television, your gaming console. You have ways to watch it in a way that I don't think we really talked about immediately, but it had been things on our personal wish list like very early in some of our conversations, and the execution of it was done flawlessly to the point that it was easy to find. It trends right up top. Shout out to Raw beating Diddy. Another win for pro wrestling here. Also beating 50, which is a thing, right? But ultimately, just for the fact that they did it, they had minimum hiccups. The infrastructure was ready for it, and thus it warranted other folks to want to get invested into these type of deals, into this type of content. I mean, in a way, it sounds crazy to say, but Netflix walked so AMC could run, because there's no way that deal happens, amongst some other things, which I hope we talk about in terms of this year. But it absolutely really opened up some of those execs to see the high most value in pro wrestling, cutting one of the biggest deals for just one show, and then it working, that the fans are able to find it, we're able to enjoy it. It's there, the archives is there, the rewatch is there, all of that. It's good. And even for the content creators, for however they want to do it, it's easier for them to be able to do what they do as well too. So I think it was big news in 2024 that the deal had been done, but the execution has been flawless. And one thing we never talked about was that this sucks. It doesn't work. I can't find it. Why did they do this? None of that. Not like how Peacock came out the gates. Don't forget, Peacock was a little bit of a rough spot when we moved from the WWE network, but when Raw moved from NBC Universal, USA Network over to Netflix, it just worked, and the production gotten better. And it truly has felt like it's been a good experience and value for all folks involved. So W for Netflix and the W and Monday Night Raw.
Just to add in here before you go, Crab, and I appreciate what you say about that 2 Chainz, because even yesterday we all know that Raw was not live. It was pre-recorded, but how they dropped it on Netflix. So you know how sometimes on streamers, okay, as soon as December 22nd hit, 12 a.m., midnight on Eastern, it's available. No, they held it off to 8 a.m. They started live at 8 a.m., but you could fast forward during that time, but they didn't release it during that time. So just kudos for that. And then also you got to give kudos for Netflix too, because they had their bumps in the road when they had some live sports with the NFL, even with their first early boxing matches. So they kind of went through this early on. And we kind of talked about it on this show, that for when WWE took over, they make sure everything was right to make sure it was ironed out. And I think, like you said, 2 Chainz, Netflix has kind of changed the game of how sports and entertainment can be used on these platforms. And just kudos for getting it right. And it was smooth throughout the whole process.
Love is Blind reunion and Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Forgot about the reunion.
They ran so everything else could walk.
Yes.
Hey, to the point that the last season of Love is Blind didn't even do a live reunion. Like it was that bad that people were just like, don't even do it again. Yeah. We don't want it.
All right, Crab, get in there.
Okay, so the whole year, it's really hard to narrow down one thing. So I'll give 2 general ones. The retirements from this year. Cena's retirement was a big deal all year long. And it really had its ups and downs, some more down, some up, and then it ended. You had Meiko Satomura back in April having her final show, which is arguably my favorite wrestling event of the year. And then on the 28th coming up, one of my favorite wrestlers, is having her retirement show with Sendai Girls at the end, so that's coming up next week. So there's been a lot of those things. And then, of course, DPW, probably one of the better indie promotions to ever come out, let alone, what's been happening recently. They had their last show ever, or at least for the foreseeable future.
I was going to say, yeah.
Maybe like 2 weeks ago. I mean, granted, they're on indefinite hiatus in the same way that wrestlers retire. Who knows when they'll be back? They haven't given word of when they'll be back. But it's as far as we know, this is their last show, and it sucks to see them go. But damn, they had a hell of a run in 4 years of making their mark on the indie side of things. So that's been kind of like a big overarching theme of this year. And then on the other hand, the ESPN deal, the Warner Brothers deal, the Netflix deal, and looking towards the future of how wrestling will be presented has been really interesting as well. You guys talked, favorably about Netflix and how well they've been doing. But then, of course, we had the maturation of NXT or the CW.
Just to be fair, I just didn't want to take over all the points. I gave one. It wasn't like a shade to anybody else in their deal. But
that's fine. I mean, Netflix checks keep coming. That's okay. We understand. I mean, the government will shut down. Get it how you live. I don't, that's fine. But the maturation of NXT on the CW, wrestling showed up with Tubi, wrestling showing up, damn near everywhere. Twitch, with the Speed Championship and stuff like that continuing to go on, and we're starting to see wrestling show up in many different other avenues, including the death, birth, and then death again of the ID program. That came and went. So it's just like a lot of it. It seems like the year hasn't been a year; it's been 10. But there's been so much throwing shit at the wall to see if it sticks. And more importantly than any of that, more importantly than all of that, Dark came back. AEW Dark came back for one night only. That is the most important thing to me in the wrestling all of this year. I don't give a good goddamn about anything else that happened, except for Stephanie McMahon gracing us with her presence. Finally, the world is healing. The world is healing. So Stephanie McMahon, continually being the greatest woman wrestler of all time, mind you, continuously being into the WWE space. Those things I will definitely remember. It's been a weird year overall, though.
Yeah,
top to bottom, it's been a really weird year.
When I think of crap, Two Chains mentioned, it's like we started the year with the Netflix launch, and then by September we had to move to ESPN, all in that was 9 months, and it just feels like those two things happened so far apart. Like the Netflix thing just feels like it feels like they've been on Netflix forever, and we're just coming up on the 1 year anniversary of it.
Right.
Yeah. It's been a long year in some respects. It's just weird.
And for what it's worth, though, because obviously we've been covering wrestling for a long time here, and we've been watching it for even longer. Of course, this has also been one of the most healthiest years. There hasn't been major controversy or anything that took wrestling back major steps.
They needed it, though.
Always going to be some things and whatnot.
What could that be, though? What would be more controversial than the fall of Vince McMahon, for example?
I mean,
that's a pretty high bar to top.
We had the speaking out movement that did nuke many other promotions. I mean, there could have been many other things in terms of the expansion with the ID program. There could have just been bad deals. There could have been more, exposure to how contracts are being handled. And we do know that there's been some folks that had some contract issues and situations, Andrade being one, and the ID program folks, stepping away from theirs. There could have been a lot more that have came about that. And listen, we're definitely not in an era where nobody isn't looking to break news by any means necessary. I think for how you overly talk about this very peculiar year of so many different and new things and unique ways of doing things, overall it's been pretty healthy. It's been pretty healthy. We've seen the ID program work. We see the independents thriving. We're seeing TNA and Hootie again won't die. The nuclear roach, and in fact, better than ever. And everybody's getting deals. I would even go as far as saying, I give Will some airtime here. I would even say that I feel like the tribalism has sizzled down a little bit. I think people have decided to watch what they want to watch.
Oh yeah,
and it's just that. I don't feel like there's this sort of I'm going to WWE shows to hate it, or I'm going
cause
to
trouble.
Cause trouble, and vice versa.
There's definitely the childish folks who will do that, but I do think there's a good chunk of people who have they've settled into this is the one I'm watching, this is the one I'm not watching. That's the way it is at this point. Whether we've talked about this recently. Part of it, I think, is just who has the time to keep up with all of it. There's just too much damn wrestling out there to keep track of all of it. It's just, it's like, it's a full-time job if you're trying to watch all this damn stuff. So it's like, I think about some people just kind of were like, they made some choices and they're like, all right, I watch this. I'm not watching this. Maybe I'll watch this other one once a year or something for a big show or something. But like week to week, I think a lot of people have just like, they've kind of had to draw some lines in the sand. Is where I'm feeling this year.
Good, because that perpetrating like you got more than 24 hours in a day is nothing but a bold-faced lie to self. You have to pick and choose what you're going to watch and what you're going to consume and be regularly updated with. That is like anybody out here saying they watch every single anime that drop. It's completely impossible. But you like what you like, and you'll keep up with it. Shout out to My Hero Academia, which I have not caught up on the last season, but you know, it is what it is. Like, there's so many other great things to watch. You can come back to watching it, and I think that's another thing we kind of sometimes take for granted, that content doesn't just fizzle out into the ether, and you got to get the tapes from your boy at his locker nowadays. You can just go back and stream last week's episode right there. It is literally right there. You don't have to look high and far from it. And I think that's causing people just more of a pleasure, because when you don't have to sort of guilt or FOMO, like, oh my God, if I don't watch it, what am I going to do? And you realize like, oh, I'll be there. I'll catch it when I catch it. And I know all of us old heads, especially the ones that was using DVRs, understood that for a while. But I think now the kids are actually getting it, that it's going to be okay if you did not watch Monday Night Raw exactly at 8 o'clock. Or you forgot that it shifted this time and it was at 6 o'clock today. Just go back and watch it. Right. And then that's it.
It's waiting for you at the push of a button. The biggest obstacle at this point is time. Just as far as having time to watch things. It's not that it's not available anymore. It's, do you have the time and the energy to watch it and keep up with it? I think that is the modern obstacle that we're all facing. Yeah. Any other thoughts on 2025? We've covered a bunch.
I just want to say quickly, Will, when you brought up Naomi, I don't know why I didn't blurt it out. This is the first time, at least in my history, that I've realized a baby stopped a main event push.
I mean,
what happened with Becky a couple of years ago?
Yeah, Jimmy didn't proceed.
But she was already established. I'm talking about Naomi's turn. It was fire. Everybody was cheering.
The timing of it all.
Becky was the top wrestler at that point when she left.
That's why it's different.
Relinquished to Asuka. But I feel like Naomi was just getting there. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I've never, and I'm not even trying to be funny, but I don't know in my lifetime of wrestling, has that ever happened where a new main event push, where we finally are all clicking on all cylinders, she got pregnant.
Yeah,
and the baby stopped everything.
At this point, that won't be the last time. I'm sure that's going to become a more common thing.
Because we're no longer run by Neanderthals. So.
I was just going to say, like, I also feel like it's more welcoming, because I would imagine that there might have been pressure with the women to say, like, well, if I make personal decisions like this, I'm to the back of the line. And I don't want to credit anybody for like who was, the ones that really championed for this to be what it is. But I do think about the Hulu show with Montez and Bianca. That whole season doesn't if that doesn't put thoughts in your head about like your top star who is on the line of like, I want to start a family with my man, but if I do, I'm done. And I'm like, all right, now if y'all got this as being put out there with a nice, good old WWE logo on that, there's no way y'all can let this be a thing. And like, we're not going to take note of that. So like, when Naomi comes back, you have to imagine she's going to be put right back into the mix.
Oh, whenever
Bianca decides to do so, whether that's happening now or not, because it's hard to tell, and that's not our business, But whenever she's back, you would imagine that she's going to be right back in the mix as well, not in the back of the line, not in the ether, not in like who the hell is this, not presented back like they're not a top person. So I think when we talk about 2026, I think those are two names we need to be thinking like, I wonder what's going to happen when they return.
Just low key, just to add to that, people don't realize, but the WNBA is actually kind of going through that now with their negotiations, because there's been issues in the past where women wanted to be pregnant or trying to get pregnant, but they didn't have the same health benefits because they couldn't play or things of that nature. That if WWE is paying attention to this, or any wrestling promotion or any organization where you have women athletes that want to have babies, you don't want this type of stigma, or what you said earlier too, James, bad publicity because it becomes unhealthy. And if
WNBA
you're
piece of
WWE,
shit.
if you want to be healthy, a healthy organization, this is something, especially having women athletes, you want to try to stay away from and give that free right for if a woman wants to have a baby or they don't proceed with caution. And then they can just, do what they need to do to help, grow their own family and still be put back on top where they left off.
Yeah. No, I think it's modern times. We're almost in 2026.
Modern times.
So
Yeah.
it is what it is. It is not the 80s or the 70s or the 90s no more. So things are going to be a little different. All right, so let's do this. Let's knock out the mid-show break now a little early, and then let's get into 2026 and our look ahead for the next part of the show. So I think that's how we could do it, and then we can go from there. This is our closing out the year that is 2025. So stay with us, folks. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast will be back right after this.
Looking to get your brand in front of people who eat, sleep, and breathe entertainment? Big Gold Belt Media is the place to be. We're all about reporting on movies, TV shows, conventions, and everything in between. And we want your brand to be a part of the action. Partnering with us means your sponsorships get featured right in the midst of our content. Plus, we're going to hype you up on all of our social media, connecting you with an audience that loves discovering new things from trusted voices in entertainment. We're easy to find. Just look for us on Big Gold Belt on all your social media platforms. Don't wait. Reach out today and let's start building something amazing together. Your spotlight is waiting here at Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com.
Thanks for being with us here tonight, folks, on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast as we close out 2025 and begin to look ahead to 2026. And like we were saying in the first half, this past year has been kind of bumpy. It's been kind of odd at times. There's been, injuries that have caused pieces to be moved around and all kinds of stuff. And of course, as we start the new year, there's always the pro wrestling calendar. And we go into Rumble season, but that'll look different this year because that's going to be outside the country. We go into the road to WrestleMania, which will be back in Vegas. We got, AEW finishing out the year overseas and them getting ready to do next year they're going to go back to Europe again for All In. So they'll be doing that again overseas. So I don't know. Crab, we talked last week before the show. We kind of started thinking about 2026. So I don't know. Let me go to you first here. What's jumping out at you as far as I guess the biggest questions heading into 2026 as we head into the new year?
Well, I mean, the biggest question for me is the most immediate one. What's going on with the Royal Rumble? I mean, it's a month away. It's in Saudi Arabia. We really don't have too much information on the event itself, tickets, where it's going to be and stuff like that. Are they, if you're going to go to Saudi Arabia, good luck getting tickets, but that whole thing. And then of course the build for it itself. When are they going to start building for it? Yes, they had to get the Cena shenanigans out of the way. Obviously, the Royal Rumble qualifying matches will happen over the next 3 weeks, and it's a little bit later in the month this year or next year, towards the end of January. But I think this is going to be a really interesting test. They've had other events in Saudi Arabia, obviously, but those were just glorified house shows. This is an actual Royal Rumble, one of the big four. And of course, WrestleMania is going to be there in 2027. So, it is interesting as they come towards the end of their 10-year deal, which is got to be 2029, 2030, something like that. It is interesting to see what that looks like going forward. So that's the biggest thing, because when we started this year in January and the Rumble was announced for Saudi Arabia, I said, I bet I'm there. I'm going. I mean, I'm passport stamped. I got my visa. Let's go. All of the falafel I can. Wait a minute, where's it going to be? Well, how much the tickets cost? Well, when are they going to sell? Well, I mean, what is going on? And there's nothing. And we're a month away. And unless you guys know something I don't, there is nothing about the Rumble, which is a surprise this close to the event.
Yeah, it just says Riyadh, KSA.
It's the
Right.
31st. It's the very last day of the month.
We
but
don't
yeah,
know anything more than when they announced it a year ago.
Yeah, I mean those other shows, like you said, the smaller ones, your Crown Jewels and all those have been pretty much, they're essentially sold shows to the Saudi government, to where it's like WWE don't got to sell tickets. The Saudis are going to take care of that. So I'm not sure if that's what's happening with Rumble or not. And I can't imagine that would happen with WrestleMania.
But so
Once
that's
for a
kind
whole
of
year
kind
after
of
this
raises the
comes
question,
back.
though.
Yeah.
If you need, if this isn't the public event in the sense that, just go to Ticketmaster.sa and sign on the dotted line and whatever you got to do. If it's not that, then if you think people are going to be pissed about WrestleMania now, being in the Rumble, being in the Kingdom for political reasons, they're going to be extra pissed because half of Europe doesn't have to fly 10 hours to California. They can fly 6 hours ish to Saudi Arabia. And, the politics aside, because Seth Rollins says he don't give a fuck. So the politics aside, it is not, you have a major market in all of the Europeans that could easily make it to the Middle East, because it's just as arguably closer than coming to the East Coast. So it's definitely closer than going to Vegas if you're in Central Europe and England. And they can't get in at all. Damn. That's crazy. So I'm very interested to see what the Rumble is going to do. I won't be there because there's no way I can Saudi Arabia in a month, but it is going to be interesting as this. I think this is going to be the dry run for WrestleMania.
Oh, absolutely. What the Royal Rumble looks like in Saudi Arabia and how it comes across is going to be very telling. It's going to be, I think this is very much the dress rehearsal of having one of the major shows there.
I honestly disagree. I feel like Crown Jewel and all of those, it's going to be no different from that. I only think that I'm still confused about what Riyadh season is, and that's probably a conversation.
Apparently, Riyadh season seems like it's all year.
Yeah,
it's like nonstop that.
I
know us on the East Coast. We're lucky to have 4 seasons a year. That's typically what's all allowed in the calendar year is 4 seasons, and some other cities they get 1 or 2. Riyadh, the fact that you're like a season, but yet you're just like a year thing, is like, are you really a season, or is this like one of those like tricky things where we say vacation and y'all say holiday? Like confuse me. I'm confused with what's going on here. But I feel like the aesthetic, we already seen it, and the only thing that I think could really take it to the next level is look at how I would say like how wrestling, how boxing matches are done in Riyadh season. They got concerts in the beginning. They got these levitating floors. Honestly, you don't even realize you're watching boxing half of the time. So maybe that's what they can do to take it to the next level, is that it's not a straight wrestling match, but like you're like in a whole experience. And that if WrestleMania is already 6 hours, that might mean that these WrestleManias 2 days might be a whole 8-hour thing of like a concert,
WrestleMania
middle
week.
presentation.
It will help with the US
granular
timing because they got
entrances.
time for it.
Yeah, and they don't care who time they on because it's their WrestleMania, and they're going to make sure
Yep.
that they got the biggest. So I don't know.
Crab,
But-
let me ask you this question real quick. I'm not to pivot on it. Right now, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being yes, I'm definitely. Based on how you feel right now and what the Royal Rumble could do for Saudi Arabia, where do you see yourself going to WrestleMania in 2027 for that, as far as
Well,
1
it
through
depends
10
when
right
they
now?
announce the information. I mean, if they had announced the information for the Royal Rumble of how to get tickets, where the events, where the fucking building's going to be, if they had announced that,
anything, any
anything
details.
within the past 6 months, because I said, well, listen, I can't begin to make moves on a whim after maybe July because I have other things going on.
Yeah.
So I waited 6 months for them to come out with information about it. And we still don't know 35, 40 days to the event.
Yeah.
So, so if they do the same thing with WrestleMania, I will make absolutely every effort to go because it will be Riyadh season. Bring an umbrella. However, it doesn't matter if they don't tell me until, until they have Great Balls of Fire or whatever the pay-per-view
God.
is before before Mania. So I mean, Riyadh season or not, it's a matter of logistics. It's a matter of planning. I've never been to the kingdom, let alone Riyadh. So, there's a lot of things that I need to know before planning the trip this big, including getting tickets. And if if the event is going to be in a 20,000 seat stadium versus an 80,000 seat Starker Stadium, or I think they're building a brand new stadium because why not? It's Riyadh season. We ball. I think that's the actual tagline. Riyadh season, we ball. And so if they announce these things today, tickets for WrestleMania 42 are on sale now in Vegas. You can get the 2-night combo package, you can get the Diamond Jubilee package, you can get the Jeffrey Epstein package, whatever you want to do. But it's all available for you right now. It's Riyadh season, no question it. But it's but if they don't tell us, then how will we know?
Yeah.
Man. All right. I don't know. So that's the Rumble's kind of the first big, I guess, thing of 2026, no doubt. But I don't know. Coming off this year, I'm like sitting here, I'm just like, I'm not sure what I want out of wrestling in 2026, except that I want something different. Something was missing this year.
Nope. The different was 2025. We don't get different anymore. We saw different streaming. We saw global localization. We saw unprecedented retirements. We saw them going back to. We saw them renege on a WrestleMania just to placate Vegas again. Right. I mean, I feel so bad for Minneapolis, but goddamn, and Indianapolis. I'm sorry. You just good luck with that. But that we're not doing that in 2026. It's back to the drawing board with the same old thing. A question that I'm interested in is AJ Styles did say that 2026 will be his last year. Right. Whether or not he sticks to that is up in the air. If it is his last year, how does that compare to Cena's? I'm not even arguing their careers directly because there's a lot of people that know of AJ Styles and will be a fan for a number of different reasons, and cool. There's a lot of people that obviously are fans of Cena, and we've heard all the stories and of the Make-A-Wish kids and all the people that grew up with them. Cool. Will the presentation from WWE be the same from them? They already have a relationship with TNA. They have a relationship with Japan in some way. Will I'm not saying a year-long event because maybe AJ Styles doesn't want that, but will he get the big send-off PLE like event dedicated to him? That's the bar.
He'll get a send-off. He will absolutely have something advertised as, this is AJ Styles' last match, and it'll be a hyped up thing, but especially it ain't going to be nowhere near the level of the Cena deal. Now, you did mention TNA, and I hope they tie TNA into it when it happens in some way. If they lend him out to TNA for a match of time, maybe have his final TNA match, and then also a final WWE match, that'd be kind of cool. That would be a hell of a thing to throw on a AMC. Get this AMC thing off the ground at some point. I don't know. It's a big AMC event of some sort. It's just like an extra special episode of Impact. I don't know. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the TNA in 2026 as far as they're still doing pay-per-views. So
yeah,
I don't know how their 2026 looks with this AMC deal is going to be kind of interesting because Lord knows all the damn focus got to be on this AMC thing once that launches in a couple weeks. So, I mean, hell, just TNA by itself, that might be one of the most compelling stories of 2026 is they're getting their, 8 millionth chance at life here, finally getting back on old basic cable. And it's like, they can't mess this up. They can't afford to go back. Even if they would survive it. It's like, this is like their golden opportunity here.
Well, it is, but that's also kind of a thing too. You can argue that the WWE deal definitely helped TNA in the most obvious way in securing their new television.
I mean, it's already been said though. They said that they they didn't say they were necessarily at the table facilitating, but everybody understands the value and how seamless the collaboration is. So yeah,
right. So then, what's in it for WWE to continue the collaboration?
I mean, that's just how is that? How is
Pipeline.
that even? Why is it? Yeah,
I was about to
how
say
is that even a
pipeline.
question? Yeah, it's because why is that even a question? Like we see how, even if they can't even, and I obviously feels like we're just talking about one thing, so I'm just gonna be real quick because I'm curious to hear what everybody else is thinking about going to next year. But like,
Yep.
if they have an opportunity to further their development of their talent, working with seasoned vet, another production, and sort of the diversity of how they do things, and why not? It's there. It's a win-win. And actually, to reflect back on 2025, I think that's the other thing. 2025 has been the year of the system working, from everything that we've named, from them being on Tubi to now one of WWE's hottest new talent comes right from Evolve right now. And I know you spoke really highly about her before, Will, but I mean, you really do look at her, you're kind of like, holy shit, like she is ready. And then when you think about people who moved from NXT to the main roster earlier in this year, Lyra Valkyria, she hasn't had a bad match yet, and I really stand on that. Then you look at this next generation of folks coming in, Javon Evans, who's worked every promotion available right now to WWE. So, and then you got people that go back to TNA that sort of got their legs back on each other. And I know that wasn't sort of a WWE thing of like future endeavors, but please go to TNA and get better. But like, no, people have gained their footing down there. The Hardys, healthy, out of trouble. There hasn't been a DUI sighting all year. And who would have thought? Because definitely thought my boy was going to crash out just one more time.
Knock on wood. Hope he doesn't.
But I mean, again, the year is here and he's did it. You know what I mean? Mustafa Ali running good and even giving Ziggler his moment in the pop. So like, I just think right now with everything TKO has been able to do, the system of WWE and their collaborations are all working and it's showing benefit in every aspect of the corner, even going back to TNA, getting the deal that nobody had on their bingo card, that this isn't Destination USA. This isn't Crime TV. this
channel.
This isn't exclusive on Pluto. You know,
IDTV,
Samsung TV presents Impact.
Roku.
Ain't no Roku channel.
You know, they got one of the big streaming services who also equally mutually benefit from it as well too, because this is their first flag into the world of sports. So I don't think that's a question we need to ever discuss, because the benefits and the proof of the benefits are all there.
Okay. Damian, you get in here, then sell us.
So I've been thinking during this entire broadcast about wrestling in general. And I had mentioned this on previous shows that we all come from the golden age of wrestling, and watching it, to borrow the phrase, evolve into what it is. It leads me to think that there was a time where I stopped watching wrestling from 2008 to 2011, 2012. And I came back, and then, you know, I met a lot of you through professional wrestling in general, the indies and things like that, and watching it progress to where it is now. Tribalism be damned, the actual product, the actual professional wrestling. It doesn't matter what continent you're on. It doesn't matter who your favorite promotion is. There is something for everyone. And as we continue to grow and talk about wrestling, I realized something that Cena triggered for me. We're running out of time. You know, our favorites will no longer be active too much longer. You mentioned AJ Styles. Tanahashi, for me, remember, is ending next year, I believe. And it's like, wait a minute, hold on, time out.
Yeah.
Who's leaving? When are they leaving? How old am I? So a lot of the people that we grew up watching, they're either, you know, since passed, but now that new wave that, like I said, the Four Horsewomen, Black and Gold NXT, shoot, we don't even know if we'll see Adam Cole ever again. For me, it's one of those situations of, I am eternally grateful, more so now than ever, that I was able to experience a point in wrestling where, one, it's accepted by the masses. You're no longer clowned by it. You're no longer looked down upon, for the most part, in regular society. And two, it's never going to stop. unless the world catastrophe ends and we can go all the way back to the pandemic era and we can talk about how that was an experiment in many follies, but it survived. Wrestling still survived. The indies survived. Remember, we thought the indies were going to die back in the COVID days. And that just leads me to believe that long after our favorites are gone, long after we're gone, I truly believe pro wrestling will not die. And that makes me very happy as a fan going forward and to my future years, because I plan on watching it until I'm 80. But it's good to know, as I said at the beginning of the show, wrestling in general, not just the women, wrestling's in good hands.
All right, Stellus, get it over here.
Damien, that was very well said. Because mine is very similar to you, but I'm a transition to another way from what you said because I really love what you said. I think in WWE specifically, right now you have a chance that you have a lot of good people coming up that's ready to move to this main event level, and we haven't seen that since, like you said, Damien, when the 4 horsewomen came up during that time. However, you do have a time where, because going through this whole John Cena cycle and the storyline, it did bring in, I'm just using this word all day, it did bring a lot of nostalgic feels, especially if you followed him from when he started on the main roster in 2002 to where he is now, where you had a lot of gimmicks, themes that he kind of went through in his career, that as you have these older wrestlers, are they going to get a chance to reboot some of these things before they leave out? Not necessarily a retirement match, but are they going to reboot? So, for example, as we talked about with AJ Styles, how that can be involved with TNA, that we kind of brought up where TNA and WWE and that alignment can be. Will his matches be rebooted in TNA with some of the people that he had great matches with? Would you have people like Beer Money be rebooted where they can come back in a match, or, just Rude, come back in a match against AJ Styles in TNA that can be aligned with NXT to help still build up some other wrestlers or whatever you can do? Even looking at some of the dirt sheets that's just coming up about storylines that are taking place, will you have Randy Orton maybe reboot his theme that he used to have, back in 2004, where you had, Burning My Light? Will that be a thing where he could say, oh, I'm still the Legend Killer, and maybe do something, in that theme of where he could just to reboot that one more time? Could you have something in dealing with Seth Rollins, right? He's coming back from his injury, and yes, he's part of Vision, but could he be the missionary, using that theme again, as far as the Monday Night Messiah? Could that come back? Just using this time where you have some of these older wrestlers, are you going to reboot some of their older things because they're getting older? However, do not forget some of the people that are coming up, the Obafemis, the Ricky Saints, the Javon Evans, the Leon Slaters, all those people that are coming up now. Is it the time for right now to push them to the moon to try to get those main event times? So that's when I wonder how WWE is going to try to balance the veterans versus the up and comers of what they can do, and see how that flows. So I'm just very interested because you have a lot of talent. And as you said, Damien, wrestling is in a good place, but it's time to still push this next generation up, but still giving knowledge to those vets who are on the way out.
Stellus, when I was saying earlier about, not sure what I want in 2026 and wanting something different, I think you kind of nailed it there. What I want is I want them to take a couple of these young names, a Javon, a Trick Williams, Kendall Gray, we see coming up from Evolve already, getting pushed into NXT. I want them to take some of these people, and it only has to be a couple of them, but let's not drag our feet like we've done so many times where it takes years for these people to progress. Let's take a couple of them and just say, the hell with it, push them, make a move. And especially since we got people retiring, there's spots opening up. Let's pump some new blood into some key positions, and let's just see what the hell happens. Like you were saying, they have so many people available that, hey, best case scenario, it works. You make a new star. Hell, we were talking with Obafemi a couple weeks ago on the Cena retirement show and all this. Make a new star at night. Have him beat Cody. A title's not on the line. Okay. Best case scenario, it works. Worst case scenario, okay, it doesn't work. You rethink it, you retool him or something. But you got so many pieces to work with down in Orlando and on these rosters that I don't see the danger in giving some people a major shot when you have so much to work with. They're not starving for talent. It's not like, well, if this doesn't work out, we're screwed. No, ain't any danger. Make some moves. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see in 2026. It doesn't. I think that just you put the seed in my head. That's what I want to see. I want to see some bold moves, something new, something like push some people into a major position. Is what I'm feeling.
And Will, would you say, just to double down on what you're saying, we haven't seen this opportunity since this OVW days of 2002, where you had the Randy Ortons, the Batista, the John Cena, the Brock Lesnar's, that class. We don't have. I mean, this is probably the best time since then because of now they're on their way out. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Like when Brock first came up right after WrestleMania, and immediately he immediately got into it with the Hardys. It was like there was no waiting on Brock Lesnar. There was no like, we're gonna take our time with Brock Lesnar. I mean, hell, I think they made him a champ within a year. So, yeah, it's like let's make somebody. Whether it's Obafemi, there's Trick Williams, or I mean, they're doing this whole like what they're doing with Javon, this whole like bidding war thing with him coming up, to the main roster. But like, okay, then once he gets there, do something with it. Don't just have him. And don't just be okay. He's signed to Raw now, and just have him like doing random matches. No, do something significant with him out of the gate. That's what I want to see.
Another thing, Will, really quick, while we were talking, I've just been wondering. Remember when NIL started in WWE, the next in line, and we were all kind of,
what's this about?
What's
the deal here?
Yeah. And we can say Obafemi, part of the next in line program, and now he legitimately is next in line to ascend to hopefully main event status. But I'm curious as to see going forward, how far is the net now going to be for NIL athletes to come in? We see track and field, we see football, what gymnastics, like what other sports are they going to tap into to bring different athletes on board for different reasons?
It was never really marginalized. I mean, we had about 3 classes, I think. We covered it. I mean, we saw people from.
No, I know we covered it, but I know the general consensus was the general consensus that we didn't know. And so when we kind of looked through the people that were being named, people were all over. I mean, of course, you think like, oh, well, this NIL, you're presenting an opportunity for people to avoid football, basketball, track, the main sort of feature sports in America. But like, no, people were coming from all over. Like gymnastics was one. I mean, we know it's a seamless fit, but for people that have been interested, this lets you know just how deep they were courting. Like imagine going to a gymnast and saying, forget the Olympics, come with us. And they're just like, yeah, because the training is completely different at that point. Right. You know what I mean? And then you take that same package and you go to a track star and say, yeah, forget the Olympics. So then that's the next thing. It's like, oh, is it going to be more lucrative to skip the Olympics and then go over here? I mean,
that is not a WWE problem. They've just presenting an option to give people options. And I mean, great to all the college athletes now having that opportunity, because God knows when we were in college, I mean, you were very committed to not being paid, to being broke and making the school a lot of money. And that was it. And you just hope to make it to the next level. But now people do have legitimate lucrative options and sponsorships, endorsements legally, and for them to continue to complete their collegiate career, which obviously is still something that WWE allows as well, too, as we see folks time after time graduating while still being under contract. But I'll quickly say this. For my next year, I'm interested really to see there's 2 things. It's now becomes who's left to not have a deal with streaming service. What is New Japan going to do next? Where's MLW? Where's NWA? What are y'all going to do in a way that's going to make a big impact of the likes of landing on on a bigger platform? And I think NWA has a deal right now, but listen, if I don't know, that's also probably a problem as well too, because at this rate now, people are consuming content because the platforms are telling you to consume it. You're not really going out looking for it. You're just like, oh, I didn't know a new season of blah, blah, blah was out, but here it is right in my face. Might as well check it out now that it's here. Oh, I didn't know I was interested in looking at a new documentary, but here it is. And I think for the likes of anything that anybody might be wanting to pick up something new, to see Monday Night Raw beat out Diddy again, may have been people's first time ever noticing that Monday Night Raw was on Netflix. But because everybody was talking about the Diddy documentary, and then people were just like, what's number one? Raw? Wait, what? Where does the interest potentially go? I would imagine their viewership was significantly good, and the first thing you saw when you cut it on was John Cena. So I expect the other promotions who have still been struggling to gain turf and traction to take a look at how they possibly can align themselves better, which goes to my next point about aligning yourself better, because now it is not a solo man game. You got to make deals. You got to have friends in places, and you got to come off of your ego, and you got to make the best decision for the longevity of your company. So I expect better collaboration deals to be made for these companies now that people have seen how it could work and can benefit others, which now goes into the very, very, very last thing. What is the fate of Warner Brothers Discovery, and how does that impact AEW? That right there is just the question. We don't know it until it happens. But I do wonder if there's a world in 2026 where AEW and WWE do something together, and they put away the egos, and for the sake of the world of professional wrestling, they make a special match, a special event, one form of cross promotion, whatever it may be. And I know it seems crazy, but how far crazy is it, considering what TKO is doing, considering the other stakeholders who are involved? I mean, let's just call it what it is. Netflix facilitates a boxing promotion right now with MVP, which promotes their own fight, which that means they have full control to take fighters from wherever they want to put on that card to make a boxing match, which means that if Jake Paul wants to fight somebody who's with Golden Boy Records or Golden Boy Promotions, he could if he wants. That's another promotion. Am I wrong? Right? And if they're allowing him full control, and Netflix is already in bed with WWE, if Netflix gets control over Warner Brothers Discovery,
they're having a special event.
Which is happening, by the way. They're just working out the numbers and all that other good stuff. They've already put out stakeholder press releases to let people know sort of what to expect and what's the future of, especially with the theatrical stuff. We're not far off from an idea of them saying, we have that show and this show. And I know y'all haven't been close to friends, but we're all making money today.
Right.
Y'all bring y'all asses to the table and make it happen.
Right.
Answer to the final boss, because I would imagine that The Rock would still have a lot of say in all of this and a lot of respect for it. But I would say Khan would have to come off his ego. Trips already know what the deal is. Netflix is already going to be at that table. Warner Brothers folks are going to be at that table. They're going to say, y'all little motherfuckers are here complaining about who shows better. We're making real money right now.
Yeah.
I see it getting more.
The corporation's going to decide at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And
Lord, that's what you got to remember. At the end of the day, TKO has made it very clear. They care about one thing, making money.
Yeah.
And all the historical shit of pro wrestling, all that, and how things used to be done, that don't apply anymore. If it's going to make TKO money, they interested.
I just say last thing, TKO in a way, and this is a little bit of a hot take that I can't even swallow properly without me like feeling kind of icky about it. But they humanized Saudi Arabia. Like, let's not forget that there wasn't like 2 years ago. We like Saudi Arabia, like what more than 2 years ago, but like Saudi Arabia to the point that like everybody's going to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Everybody's doing shows. Everybody's doing business with them. It's Riyadh season forever. Riyadh season's like a Game Shark of combat.
There's too
sports.
much money involved not to.
Yeah, literally. The Prince is the Game Shark of money. Matter of fact, we're like, if you want it, put in the code, you're getting it. You know what I mean? And I would imagine that as much money as everybody says Tony Khan have, well, the Prince got a lot more to say about that, I would imagine. And I think at that table, when you put the egos away, that we will possibly see something more unique than we've ever seen ever. When you have the two biggest, the biggest rivalry since WCW with WWE working together to do something special. And I do think, I was just going to say, I do think the reason why there's not a sort of a union amongst the two is because they are two different products. One is entertainment, one is definitely still wrestling, but it doesn't mean that there isn't a world where the two of them can still do something together, which is why you're not going to see like a merger of like MVP promotions and what Saudi Arabia is trying to do with boxing. Like the presentations are different. You know, we see sort of celebrity boxing on one hand, and Saudi Arabia's like, we're going to do the best boxing matches with all the promoters up from the side. So, you know, that just tells you there's enough money for everybody to be made, but everybody can still play friendly and make the money. So I think, as I said, the tribalism won't have nowhere to go at that rate. And I think we just possibly could have another really good, healthy year if all things are to come. I'm predicting.
To James, quick question, real quick question, just to close out that point. Warner Brothers Netflix deal, let's say that gets done. AEW brings TKO to the table. Hey, we're going to have this one night only event. This is not a WWE event. This is not a AEW event. This is just a one event that we have. We're going to put this on Netflix. Does Netflix add an additional paywall to it for this type of event?
Oh, well, don't even bring that up. Netflix they won't add a paywall, but just believe there will be a different.
Just add a subscriber price.
Gotcha. Got it.
For $50.
Netflix made clear they are not in the pay-per-view business. They are in the subscriber business.
Yeah. For $50 a month, you get this. And you can get physical copies back again, which you know.
DVDs are back.
Richard DVDs at 7-Eleven. Red box it.
All right. Well, boss man, how we want to wrap this up? This is the end of our 2025. Right or out?
It is.
How we want to put a cap on this?
Well, it's been an absolutely insane 2025. I can't emphasize that enough. But more or less, it's been a one hell of a ride doing this show. To that point that I'm thankful for everybody here, y'all contributions, y'all willingness, y'all availability, leadership. And I say that even within my absence, but also just for people's like, you know, just making sure we do what we do to ensure that our fans get something each and every week. And I will honestly say, I was kind of looking it up. Of the last 3 years, as far as I went, we've only missed 1 week of a weekly show. Every other time we've always had something come out, and most of these were live. And I mean, we worked through a lot. We worked for infrastructure changes. We worked from sort of personnel shifts. We worked from scheduling. We worked from conflicts because of what products were coming on. But we were here. We showed up, and we've always had a good following, a good fan base. We've seen our numbers go up and down, but I just tell you, for the love of us wanting to do this, that's never really been a big thing for us. And we never really sat back and said, well, how many people did we have? Well, I'm not going to do it because we didn't have that. We just had fun coming together and doing what we're going to do. And I regret one part of it. It's been such an honor to talk with the four of you all, in so much due respect individually, but collectively, pro wrestling for all this time. And I can't thank y'all enough. And, you know, if we had another 5 years to do it, sure, I guess we'll be old as fuck then. But yeah, sure. But like with everything in life, I think good things do come to an end. And I want to be very clear and say what I say responsibly, that this isn't necessarily the end of anybody here with the show, with the brand, with the outlet. This is just going to be the end of this show, where we're going to go take our break as we usually do. We'll rest it and we'll deserve for the month of January. And we'll be talking internally. We always do, but we'll be talking internally and just really expect something different and fresh. And when I say different and fresh, I'm not saying look for the next version of the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast, which I would imagine this is, I don't know, Sellers, you've been here since the very beginning. I would imagine this is like iteration 3.0, 4.0 here.
I would say we got more than NXT.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but we held the black and gold down for sure. But no, we're going to evolve. We're going to match the identity of the outlet, Big Gold Belt Media, and really shake up how we have our discussions going forward. And when I say we, that's not to say who is involved with it right here, because we're all going to be talking internally in terms of what does that look like? What does that mean? Talk creative and so on. So I think the very safe and responsible way to say is that this is the end of this show. Expect new content, as always with us each and every day. Every Gold Belt Media is there something dropping. And just to kind of give y'all a little bit of background of everybody on the team, and I know we talked a lot throughout the years, but like you're looking at an array of talent from critics to journalists to content creators to enthusiasts to historians here, to just people who have pure fandoms that just isn't wrestling. And I think it's a disservice to us to only talk one thing when all of us love so much. And though we love you all and we love to talk about this one thing, as I said, the outlet has evolved and so must we. And we will be really, again, coming together collectively to talking about what does that look like. So some of us you may not see on a weekly basis, but they'll still be around in other capacities. And some of us may return for something special weekly. And whenever that is and however that looks like, you'll be the first to know on the outlet, on the website at BigGoldBelt.com. All of our socials and everything, y'all hopefully have them all. But if not, don't worry. We'll make sure y'all get that so y'all can see.
At Big Gold Belt across the board, as I would say every darn week.
Now I work very damn hard for that too, man. I tell you, if there's one thing I'm proud of, I fought very hard to get that handle all over. I had to fight this ghost account for like a whole year. And I was like, come on, bro. Like, there's not even nobody on this. Like, get rid of this account. And eventually Twitter came to their senses and said, yeah, this is definitely a bot. So yeah, I think that's responsibly the way I want to do it. So I thank you all. Will, Marcellus, Damian, Jamal. I thank the folks that came before this, Marcus, Aaron, Bryce as well. Cellus once again. Individually, I thank Will coming on board. I pitched it at a pro wrestling show. He was on board. It was good to see the energy he brought and to lead at many points of this. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm thankful for it. Damien highly sorted him out ever since I was a fan of his previous show. And I knew the moment that I saw that slipping, I knew exactly what I needed to do. That was contract infringement there. For sure. And then Jamal, we've always ran really close in movie theater settings. And we used to, it's funny because I think y'all know this, but like, when I was first really getting into reviewing movies and Jamal had already sort of been a vet at that point, I would spend so much time talking to him about ways to better the production of the show as a fan and as a listener, things that he says would be easily consumed. And at that point, I was thankful for the criticism. I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to bring this guy on. But then you really think about it, if you know Jamal doesn't even listen to podcast shows. So it's such an honor to not only have you sit and evaluate our show to make it and take it to where it's at, but to also join. I'm forever thankful for that as well too. You've been such an asset to that and to other things amongst the outlet as well. So I'm very appreciative of your time and contribution and to everybody. So yeah, I think first of all, what we're not going to do is give me flowers here or anything because I feel people's mouths trying to cut me off or something. So we're not going to do that. I'm the boss, as y'all say, so that's what it's gonna be. Y'all give love to the fans, and then we'll wrap this baby up. We'll get to our break, and then we'll see what 2026 shenanigans have us for. Sounds good?
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. Happy holidays, everyone. I've said anything I need to say. If anyone else wants to jump in here, 2026 is gonna look different, and I'm excited about that. Yeah. I'm excited for something new.
Yeah. I think that's the kind of the biggest thing is that as 2025 was such a year of change, basically, whether it's wrestling or the way you consume entertainment, just the world that we live in, a lot of quiet and not so quiet changes happened. And, for 2026, we just don't know what that's going to be. And that's kind of what it is. You're at the front seat of the roller coaster and whatever it is, you just got to ride with it. So for those that have stuck by it from episode 1, season 1, back, way back in the dark ages,
we see you. We appreciate it.
To now and into the future. Thank you.
Yeah. Silas, I had to put you on the spot, but you've been here since day one, so I will allow a moment of reflection from you, sir.
So I will add some flowers for you, sir, because we go back to 2001. So that's a long time. Known this guy for over 20 years, 24 years to be exact. Just I know it all started out, just we wanted to do something, of course, doing the whole podcast game. I'm talking about we were just like recording on different devices about what we could do just to talk wrestling. And it just evolved into what we have today in Big Gold Belt Media. I remember what was it? I forgot what wrestling show we went to or what WrestleMania. Was it Dallas? It was Dallas. I think it was WrestleMania Dallas. We had all our shirts. They had the gold on our shirts and everything. And we saw Jinder Mahal, sitting over there drinking or whatever, just, by himself at an indie event that we went to. And it just loaded up to now just about what we liked about wrestling, how we wanted to talk about it. But we just got better through time, of course, through the vision of what you have done, Najir, because you took a lot of feedback from other people and say, hey, I want us to do this. I want us to be better on this. And I think our fans are receiving this because of the vision that we have put forward of what we've had done collectively. I know what Will, Damien, and Jamal, just growing as we've gone collectively just on this show. Like, even though we haven't had the 2-3 box, or that's the 5-man show, a lot through times, it's just we all pick up where if somebody is off. Like if I'm off or somebody's off, we just all pick up and just deliver what we want to do for fans through time. And it's been enjoyable. We still have more to do. We still have more to push forward. So like I said, this is not like a goodbye for everybody, but it's like you got to make a pivot sometimes, because if you do the same thing over and over again, you get the same results. So we got to make sure we just elevate what we're trying to do, knowing the potential and capacity that we have in this room or just in this whole regime of Big Gold Belt Media. It's just always about pushing it forward, regardless of, what we all do in our personal lives, because we all have different levels of work outside of this. However, this is something that is a good pastime for us to enjoy, and we want to definitely put that in it. So I'm appreciative to just the growth that we have done collectively. Once again, knowing this guy for 24 years is just definitely, you've seen us grow together from where we started and to where we are now. So just kudos to this team. Kudos to a good friend inside and outside of this business in Najir. And kudos just to fans for just supporting us and just giving us feedback and being where we are.
Yeah, I started this with hair, cut it, grew it back. I think that's full circle.
Me too, brother. I had curly hair when we started. I understand, bro. Oh.
Man.
Let me just say this just real quick. I had to look it up. May 20th, 2017.
Jeez.
NXT TakeOver Chicago, Rosemont, Illinois.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
And that's when Najir and I had conversations in a very cold parking lot on our way inside of the building the night before Jinder Mahal shocked the world and beat Randy Orton.
Heck yeah.
And that was
that's
over 8 years ago. So
wow.
Yeah, I had the number last week, but over 500 episodes, a lot of interviews, which we got away from. And we got away from it because just in the style of how we conduct our interviews and booking talent hasn't always been fluent. And it's clearly we're not shy to do interviews. Take a look around. But it is what it is. And it is a part of the evolution. And it was a part of the self-identity in terms of not just wanting to be another show, but just
interviewing Dijak will always be a highlight.
Yeah. Well, being one of Jordan Grace's first interviews will also be as well too. And then just for the love of independent wrestling in our area, which is really, really, really diminished over time. And even in Damien's area, if it was Ben, Dallas is taking a hit, and New York only has one or two. Yeah, Damien's favorite promotion. What were we gonna do without them? So, but yeah, it's all good. It's all love. But yeah, Will, for the final time, would you like to take us home?
Hold on, wait. Can I jump in really quick?
Oh,
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
buddy.
Yeah, so real fast. Every time I thought I was done with professional wrestling, y'all are part of the reason I get pulled back in. Okay. And I remember when I met 2 Chainz in person for the first time, it was a random indie show. And I'm not gonna say like how it happened, but it was just random. We're like, hey, and then we just started talking. It was one of those things, like it wasn't even a New York show. I believe it was like fucking Tennessee or something. And that's how it started. And then you pitched the idea, and I was completely done after the fallout from my previous show. Because for all you kids out there, I am probably one of the first wrestling podcasters way back in like 2013, 2012. So to stay here and converse with you all, to give me a reason to watch. And a thing that I've loved about us, despite if it's the 2-man team, the 5-man team, what have you, we've always stayed consistent to who we were. We were never the JD from New York types, the hot take yelling into the camera. We were never ever those people.
Damien, make it very clear. And you're from New York, so you have it in you.
Yeah, I got it. I can be that guy, but I've never had to because we've been professional and consistent. And even though we have fun, right, Jamal? We have fun here.
It's fun show. Fun show.
It's been a great run, and you guys are the reason I still watch wrestling. So thank you. And to the fans the handful of fans who followed me over from my previous stops, thank you for being here. Thank you for still watching, and thank you for putting up with us and this wonderful, crazy world of professional wrestling.
There you go. So as we said, this is not goodbye. It's until next time. So happy holidays. Have a safe closing out of 2025 and follow those socials at Big Gold Belt across the board. And at some point in 2026, we will see you again. Until next time, we will see you later.
All I really need